She had no name, no fingerprints, no family, and every label in her clothing had been cut away with meticulous precision. When hikers discovered her burned body in a remote Norwegian valley, police believed that the case would be resolved within days. Instead, it opened up one of the strangest unsolved mysteries in European history. A woman who used false identities, travelled in secret, studied military movements, and vanished forever without ever being known. It's midnight somewhere, and tonight I have a story for you. On November 29th, 1970, a father and his two young daughters were hiking through a desolate area outside the city of Bergen, Norway, a place that the locals call Isdal, which translates in English to Ice Valley. Now, hidden among the blackened rocks, they discovered the body of a woman lying face up on the ground. She was surrounded by empty sleeping pill packets, a bottle of alcohol, burned personal belongings, a pair of rubber boots, an umbrella, and also various items of jewellery. But what disturbed investigators the most was what wasn't there. Every label of her clothing had been deliberately cut out, and an autopsy later determined that her cause of death was due to carbon monoxide poisoning combined with the sleeping pills, and officials ruled the death as a straight suicide. But suicide didn't explain what police found next. The woman carried no wallet, no identification, no photographs, no paperwork linking her to be a resident of any specific country, and her fingerprints matched no known records anywhere in the world. She appeared to be between 25 and 40 years old. She was very, very well groomed and expensively dressed. Yet, nobody knew who she was. Norway had never ever seen a case quite like this, but then police found her suitcase. At the Bergen train station, investigators located two abandoned suitcases believed to belong to the woman. Inside, they found multiple wigs, they found foreign currency from several different countries, clothing with all the identifying labels removed completely. There were cosmetics, there were sunglasses, there were spoons, and a small notebook filled with some coded writing. Now, the codes appeared to track her movements between cities using letter and number combinations. And to this day, the full meaning of that notebook has never ever been solved. It was now clear that this woman had been living under a carefully constructed false life and also two false identities. Now, police managed to retrace her stay through the various hotel records across Norway, and what they discovered was extraordinary. She'd used at least 8 different false names. She changed rooms very, very frequently. She always paid in cash. She checked out suddenly without any sort of explanation at all, and she requested rooms and only rooms that had balconies, and she was often seen wearing different types of wigs. And hotel staff described her as very, very polite. She was very reserved, she was well dressed, and she was fluent in multiple languages with a notable foreign accent. Several witnesses recalled seeing her dining alone, studying maps, and meeting with unknown men. None of those men were ever identified or ever tracked by the authorities to be questioned. Now, as the investigation deepened, a far more troubling detail emerged. Multiple witnesses reported that the woman had been asking specific questions regarding Norwegian naval activity, missile testing, and also to military harbour movements. And at the time, NATO operations were being conducted in the nearby regions. And these reports of her askings and inquiring about this have been officially documented. But no explanation was ever given for her unusual military interest. And that's when the case quietly shifted from unexplained death to possible intelligence activity. Now, the most disturbing item recovered from her belongings was that coded notebook. It appears to track dates, locations, movements, and interestingly, the writing didn't match any known cipher system that is in existence today. Cryptographers have studied it for decades and they've come to no definitive solution. It remains one of the central unsolved elements of this very, very strange case. Now, despite the false identities, the coded notebook, the burned possessions, and her unexplained military interest, authorities officially concluded that the Isdal woman had taken her own life, and that was the case closed. And no further investigation was publicly pursued. But many investigators privately believed that the truth was far more complex. In 2016, nearly 46 years after her death, the Isdal woman was exhumed for modern forensic testing. Isotope analysis revealed that she likely grew up in Central Eastern Europe, possibly in Germany or Poland, and her dental work supported this conclusion. DNA testing was conducted, yet even with modern science, her identity still remains unknown to this very day. Now, because of the extraordinary evidence, many theories started to emerge. Some believe that she was a spy or an intelligence operative or maybe a military observer or some sort of courier. Others believe that she may have been murdered and staged, or that powerful forces ensured the truth that she discovered would never be uncovered. But to this date, no theory has ever been proven. And without a name, her story remains completely frozen in time. So, more than half a century later, the Isdal woman still has no identity, no family has ever come forward, no confirmed origin has ever been established, and her coded notebook has never ever been solved. All we have is a woman who carefully erased herself from existence, yet left behind enough clues to haunt investigators forever. A life without a name, a death without an explanation, and a mystery that refuses to be forgotten. If you like dark stories told at midnight, make sure you subscribe, because I release 3 new videos every single week. And until then, I'll see you at midnight.